Hurricane Rita. With rapid intensification, an example with Rita was it went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane in 36 hours. And that's not the only instance of that occurring in the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico. When the conditions are right, rapid intensification can go well beyond that definition. Watches and warnings, well, pretty much all warnings are up now across the area. Out through Galveston, you see the purple shading here, widespread hurricane warnings. Farther off to the west, southwest Houston area under a tropical storm warning. As we move along I-10 here through Lake Charles, Cameron Parish, all under hurricane warning, extending all the way up the Sabine River to the north, and bookending it on the other side to the east here, out near Baton Rouge, along I-10 still through Louisiana, closer to New Orleans. Also, tropical storm warnings are up there. Let's refresh ourselves on exactly what watches and warnings mean. Warning is more imminent. That means we're expecting hurricane force conditions within 36 hours or less. In this case, it's about 24 hours from now that we'll start to see the winds really pick up and overall conditions deteriorate. Let's talk about impacts now with Hurricane Laura as we go forward. Storm surge, life-threatening inundation is expected along almost the entire coast of Louisiana and a good chunk of the coast of northern Texas. So we need to watch that extremely carefully. Flooding rainfall as well, despite it being a fast-moving system, and also we've been quite dry over the past couple of weeks. I still expect some flooding to be an issue with 6 to 10 inches of rainfall expected as this storm moves on through. On top of that, of course, we have a hurricane here, damaging winds and widespread power outages. Let's start off with the most imminent threat or the biggest threat from the system, the life-threatening storm surge, okay? Occurring ahead of landfall, and the worst of it is going to be just to the east of the track. You're getting that onshore flow blowing the water piling on up to the areas that are at or around sea level. So that's going to bring that storm surge up to potentially as high as 13 feet high in some areas there. Very dangerous situation. It's not only possible, it's likely expected now. This is likely one of the largest storm surge warnings issued here, encompassing such a large area of the coastline on the Gulf Coast here, and a lot of this stretches all the way up to I-10, so that storm surge threat extends well inland, again with the winds coming onshore on the eastern side of that track, leading to significant inundation there. There's a look at some of the forecast models from the National Hurricane Center in terms of that storm surge and where the highest is expected. Again, here we are, 9 to 13 foot storm surge potentially here as you get over near the Sabine River, the Sabine Pass, and points off towards the east. Again, that's looking would be where the track comes in. So again, areas just to the east of that, and then gradually lower as you get farther away from that center. But wherever you're going to have that onshore wind for a prolonged period of time, especially with a system that's strong and deep, you're looking at a significant amount of storm surge here, so that's going to be the most life-threatening condition from this storm likely going forward. Freshwater flooding, what I mean by that is rainfall causing some flooding. Fast-moving storm in the dry ground, as I mentioned, may be factors that limit overall flooding from freshwater, but still 6 to 12 inches are possible with some of these rainfall models, and therefore that flooding is certainly still expected. Here's a look at some of the rainfall models. We'll look at the GFS model first. And there are some differences between this and the European that we're going to look at next, but anywhere from 10 inches or more is expected right along the immediate coast and then stretching inland. As the storm gets farther away, it's going to rain itself out, so slightly lower totals the farther north you go. But notice here with the European model, the latest run, takes that swath of the heaviest rain and pushes it along the Sabine River and points off to the west here. That indicates to us here maybe the potential of a trend of this track coming a little bit farther off towards the west in future runs and maybe verifying a little bit farther south and west of where it's currently located to move on shore late tomorrow night and early Thursday morning. Let's talk now about damaging winds. That large wind field at landfall tomorrow night and early Thursday. The wind field is expected to extend out about 130 miles from the center to the north and east is where we'll find tropical storm force winds. That's 39 miles per hour or greater. In terms of hurricane force winds, 75 miles per hour or greater, likely extending out from the northeast, from the center to the northeast of the storm, about 35 miles there. And there are forecast gusts, we're going to look at the models here in a second, of up and over 115 miles per hour. That's just gusts. Sustained winds will be a little bit lower than that. Here's the probability of seeing at least tropical storm force winds across the area here. Nearly a certainty. We have 100% certainty all the way up the Sabine River there in Louisiana and Texas. Now, in terms of seeing the probabilities of Hurricane force winds, slightly lower, but still high for this far out in that time scale. We're up to 70%, encompassing a large area here near Sabine Pass. And as you get a little further offshore, a little closer to that storm center, 80 to 90% chances. That 75-mile-an-hour winds are stronger. All right, let's take you through time now on the futurecast in terms of wind gusts from the European model. Keep a watch on that time scale there. We'll start off tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Already getting a little bit breezy out there. Winds up 20, 25, 30 miles per hour in Port Arthur over to Cameron Parish. Here we are at lunchtime tomorrow. Winds getting a little bit stronger. Galveston, 36 miles per hour, so we're getting closer to seeing gusts of tropical storm force or greater. Late afternoon, here we are at 4 p.m. Tropical storm force gusts close to in Cameron Parish, over tropical storm force in Galveston at 41. And then as that sun gets ready to go down, the winds really start to get howling. As we get to 10:45 at night, we're up and over 45 to 50 miles per hour. But look what happens here late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. Gusts up and over 90 miles per hour, potentially in Port Arthur, 87 miles an hour out in Cameron Parish. And then even higher, keep in mind this is likely a little bit too high, but certainly gusts over 100 miles per hour cannot be ruled out as we get to very early Thursday morning, just before daybreak, as that storm center approaches I-10 and begins to lift on north. With it goes the strongest of the winds, but still extremely windy, and a wind shift coming in out of the northwest behind it as it pulls away to the north. 9:30 a.m. still dealing with hurricane force wind gusts there, and then things gradually getting less windy into Thursday afternoon around lunchtime and beyond. So how are the models seeing things here? Well, we had a big inconsistency the last couple days, right? These were spread out all over the place. Now they are really starting to consolidate, showing it pretty much falling in line with the National Hurricane Center forecast track. Here is another one, the GFS Ensemble. The ensemble is run with 21 different members, and basically what that means is we're running the GFS model 21 times, but we're tweaking the initialization just slightly to see if we get a different outcome. Even with that, all of the members are in pretty much good agreement. I will tell you, however, this run compared to previous runs is just a little bit farther off towards the west, a little closer to Houston. Could that be an indication of a trend? Maybe. We'll see as we go closer, but a westward track in that forecast track could be certainly possible. We talked a little bit about Rita earlier from 2005 that got up to a Category 5 status. Look at the track for Rita and look at the forecast track with Laura. There's a lot of similarities here, and of course that made it up to a Category 5. This is also expected to make it to a Category 3, a major hurricane, but the real similarities are where it made landfall. Category 3 at landfall with Rita between Johnson's Bayou and Sabine Pass. And then we have Hurricane Laura here expected to make landfall in almost that exact same area, also at a Category 3 with winds of 115 miles per hour. Landfall with Rita was September 24th back in 2005, and that one was historic. So we'll see if that continues to show there. But you can track Hurricane Laura with us on 12 News Now on all the social media platforms for the latest update. Instagram, Facebook, and also on Twitter. You can find more updates here on Facebook and also the YouTube channel. There's going to be a lot of things to talk about here in the next couple of hours, the next couple of days, with mandatory evacuations getting underway. But until then, I'm meteorologist Tim Pandajis from our sister station, WVEC in Norfolk, Virginia, helping out KBMT to continue to cover Laura. Have a great rest of your night.